Welcome to the Resellers podcast with tech and sports and daily refinement. We've helped thousands of people save time and make more money by improving their online stores. Check out patreon.com/the Resellers podcast for thousands of hours of full-length ad-free podcasts and coaching calls. Join our Facebook group with thousands of sellers making the transition from hobby to business. See you in the show. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Resellers podcast with tech and sports and daily refinement. Today, I have 7 reasons that resellers need to wake up. And I got this list off of Instagram. It was really popular. So we're going to start with number 1, which are your dreams are your responsibility. So we talk a lot about having a specific income goal with reselling, how much money you want to make. It is 100% up to you. You don't need anyone's permission. And no one's really going to come and help you. That's how I want to start the podcast right out the gate. I think you need to do it yourself. Slowly, surely. And earlier, you tried to blow my mind, but you tried to say that you don't mind if it takes extra time to figure out.
Yeah. Like a lot of people focus on the time, but like it is what it is, man. The time that something takes is the time that something takes. And if it takes longer, it takes longer. So like, you know, a lot of people, they get trapped into like this speed thing or like trying to do everything certain ways, but like at the end of the day, it's just going to take how long it needs to take, but you need to be in control of your time to make sure that you allow yourself the cushion that if it takes longer than it's supposed to, you could still have the same result every single day. And I may have blown your mind when I said I have something shocking to confess, and that I have never done a time audit before.
Yep.
I just know how long everything takes. And if it takes a little bit longer, that's okay. The result will still be the same.
That's right. So people are always asking questions that are sort of related to what's the least title I can make, the least number of photos, the least item specifics, and the highest price that someone will still buy my item and not return it.
That math doesn't add up to me though.
Yeah.
Like I'm okay with doing extra, even if it is a sacrifice of spending more time, because doing extra is always going to win. Doing the bare minimum is a lose-lose situation.
Yep. So when eBay gives you the listing quality report, you want to do the best in all of them, all of the different criteria, I'm assuming.
Yeah. I don't care how long it takes either.
Yeah, that's right.
That's why I did eBay for 20 hours a day for most of my life.
Yep.
I don't care how long it takes. I'm not looking to, do everything Olympic speed. It doesn't matter. However long it takes, that's how long it takes.
Yep.
And fortunately, I try to do things, as streamlined as possible. But like, there's a lot of things that I could do faster that I sacrifice time in exchange for perfection.
Yep.
So a lot of things I could do much faster, but I would prefer to be perfect first. And that's kind of one of the pillars that is, the oldest in the group is it's perfect first, speed later. Mm-hmm. But you can't sacrifice perfection for speed. And I was thinking last night that, I don't know if I'm a perfectionist, but I am a recovering perfectionist that does lapse from time to time. I think that's the best way that my wife can explain who I am. That I am a lapsing perfectionist. I fall off the wagon from time to time.
And go back to making it
being perfect. Yeah. I try my best not to have total perfection run my life and total control run my life, but I do fall off the wagon from time to time. I am a recovering perfectionist.
Yeah, that makes
every single day I'm trying to get a little bit better.
I got this question from Isaiah on this topic, which is, how can I ensure that I average 20 listings an hour if sometimes they take longer? And I think that you just try to do it as fast as possible with no mistakes. That's how you do your average. And before, I didn't add that with no mistakes part. That's new for me.
Yeah, I would rather someone take all day, all night and be perfect than have someone rush through and they have a bunch of garbage listings in their store that are never going to be purchased.
Got to go back and fix it.
Yeah, that's double the time. And like we always talk about, you take shortcuts, you get cut short. And if you take that shortcut in the beginning, it will take you more time because you have to go back and fix. And that is probably one of the biggest advantages that I have over every single reseller out there is I've been doing this for a long time and I've never had to go back and fix. So I never go backwards. It's always pushing, quality product moving forward. It's never going backwards, fixing items, fixing bad listings, fixing improper keywords, fixing improper item specifics. It's always moving in the right direction. And if you could always move forward versus, one step forward, two steps back, always moving forward is always going to win the race.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that trying to do your best sometimes means not listing an item that's bad. Like if you just got to take your time. I think everyone is in such a rush. And now I notice that. I notice now finally that every single person is in a rush. And you are in the biggest rush, but you don't rush things.
Never, nothing is rushed. Like my entire eBay career is slow growth.
Yeah.
Slow growth. Like I say it till I'm blue in the face, people to slow down. And I receive messages all the time and I'm like, man, you got to slow down. And like people get upset.
Yeah.
And it's like this whole thing is a very slow, meticulous grind that takes most people several years to work out.
Mm-hmm.
Fortunately for people here, they can shortcut a lot of that stuff if they choose to listen and, trust the things that we talk about. There was a lady today, she just listed her first 10 items.
Mm-hmm.
The items were perfect listings. Do you know how much time she saved herself by listing her first 10 items perfectly? The photos were perfect. The titles were perfect. Great structure, great keywords, perfect listings out of the gate. The only thing she has to work on now is what everyone else needs to work on is better items that are going to sell through faster. But if she never changes anything, she will never have to go back and rework her store and rework her items. Do you know how much of a humongous shortcut that is? She saved probably 5 to 10 years of her whole life.
At least.
At least, man.
Yeah. And also all the pain of having to go back and frustration and
sunk.
Yeah, sunk costs. We lost you for a minute.
That's okay. I got some thunderstorms popping off.
All good.
Thank you.
So I guess number 2, this was really popular on social media, and it says that stop waiting for the perfect time. The perfect time to get started is right now. How do you take that?
It's the same thing when people say, oh, I'm going to hold my jackets till it gets cold. I think that you should list and wait rather than wait to list. So I think like it's the same thing with everything. Like, how many people talk about like, oh, I'm going to buy real estate when the market is right.
Yeah.
Like those people are still waiting. Like the market has gone up every single year since those people have said that.
Yeah.
And like they never got in. But if they would have got in the first time that they said, oh, I'm going to buy real estate, if they would have got in then, they would probably have a humongous return. But they keep waiting for when the market is right. And the market is never going to be right. It will always go up and up and up.
Yeah. And you're going to need skills to do anything. You should get started on them right now. There's no perfect time to resell. The perfect time is as early as possible because it keeps changing.
I think we talked about this last week on the Secret podcast. The perfect time is right now.
Yeah.
Right now. So like a lot of things that people put off can just be done right now. And if you just do it right now, your life becomes so much less complicated than having all of this. I'll get to it.
Yeah. Number 1 was it's your responsibility to make your dreams come true. Number 2 is stop waiting for the perfect time. It sounds like our podcast. All of these high hitting things are just what we talk about in the podcast, which is
they are a little bit nicer phrased. I'll give them that because these are very, very, very nicely phrased.
Your success comes from an internal force, which is you, not external. Um, yeah, I think you've got to go make it happen. That's the part that's what we're here to inspire people to do. You have to go out and do it.
So I take from that one is you have to sit your butt in your chair and study the souls and the actives every single day to gain an education. So that way, when you go to the thrift store, flea market, or garage sale, you are not passing up on profitable inventory. And I was listening to the 24-hour room last night, and Juanita was bringing up the brand's Johnny O, as that was like a new brand on the radar. Yeah. And Tom Jasudigers, he said that he's probably been passing that. So like there are a lot of items out there that we just don't know yet and we're passing on. And I guarantee Tom finds a Johnny O by the end of the week.
That's right.
And Johnny O has a tremendous sell through and it sells for great money. The shirts, the shorts, the polos. But like there's a lot of brands out there that we just aren't familiar with yet. And Tommy hit it on the head and he said, you don't know what you don't know.
That's right. Okay. Now I think I understand this. It says that success comes from an internal force, which is you. That means no matter what thrift store you go to, you will find something. If you have to rely on an external force, that means you have to walk in and the cashier says, I've been waiting for you all day. I have this amazing stuff that we could sell for 20, but you can have it for $1. That's not going to happen. It's never going to work that way.
And like you tripped and fell over into a pile of money. Yeah. Like that's like external, but like the internal force, like I do feel that I have an internal force that I can win and succeed at anything. And there is
that.
Yeah. And there is nothing in the world that can convince me otherwise. So when I do go to the flea market or go to the thrift store, I'm 100% confident that I'm going to win the flea market or win the thrift store that day. And I have this internal force where it's unshakable that I feel like that I can win at these things that I'm doing. Find a way to win. There is an honest way to find a way to win at everything. And I feel like we all have that internal force in us. And if we don't yet, maybe it's confidence based, maybe it's a track record or a history of results. I can't say that I always had that when it comes to eBay, but like with sports, like I always knew that I had a great opportunity every time it was my turn or I touched the ball. I always knew that, but that came from practicing and training and paying attention and studying. So like with eBay in the beginning, maybe I didn't have that internal force, but as you gain more confidence, I think you unlock some stuff and you get there. So like for you, like, I think you're to the point where like, no matter what it is, I think you feel like you could sell it and you could get the right price and you can get the margin that you desire, no matter what it is.
I feel that way. And you even have the internal force to make a curb alert work. And I also this year have started the free stuff on the street. Is it now I notice it? It wasn't there before.
It's always been there.
It's always been there.
Always been there. Yeah, always. But like you have to do the curb alerts the right way. And I was talking to Isaiah about this today. So like my wife and I were out on a morning walk today and there was an open bag and it had a Cabbage Patch doll on top of it. Yep. And it was an old one. Like I knew from across the street that it was an Xavier Roberts design. So those go for like 20 to 30 bucks. And I go, this requires a little bit of a closer look. And inside of the bag, right on the top, was an entire bag of vintage Playmobil. And I could see a little bit deeper and I could see there was a lot of it. So I sprinted home and got the car. We picked up the car, brought the bag home, and it was a full bag of toys from the late 80s, early 90s. And I probably got 1,000 pieces of Playmobil. But this is the thing. I don't sell toys. I used to be involved with toys heavily, but I don't sell toys anymore. And I could spend the next 6 months becoming an expert in Playmobil and identifying each and every one of these pieces. Or I can make one listing, start it out at 99 cents and it'll sell for $200, $300, or $400. And I'll have all of my money within 1 week and I'll throw it in one box and let somebody else deal with it. So like, if you're going to play like those kind of games, it can't be like, let me now become an expert in this and piece it out one by one and get all the money. Like that is not where I fit in that scenario. But for someone to buy this for $300 and they can piece it out and maybe make $3,000, great for them. Just like when I found the Oakley case on the side of the road, it's worth $1,700 on eBay and you have to ship it freight in a pallet. I brought it to my brick and mortar store and I sold it for $250 in 2 days.
Yep.
That's not my part of the puzzle of getting $1,700 for it. It needed one plexiglass shelf and you needed to repair the cord, which is easy. You could have spliced it on, but that was not my position in the chain of command of profitability of this item. The chain of command was, I want to sell this thing real fast and I just want to make a couple $100. That was the chain of command. So I made one post on OfferUp. Someone went by the brick and mortar store. They loaded it in the back of an ambulance, as ridiculous as that is. And whatever they want to do with it, that's fine. So like what Isaiah was saying is he has this spot where he's able to get clothing for free. Mm-hmm. And he sent me a couple pictures last week asking if stuff was good, if stuff was not good. And he actually did find a couple cool items. He found a very cool Dragon Ball Z shirt that's probably worth $100. He didn't know at the time, but like his position ain't, let me become an expert in all this stuff, these jeans, this clothes. It's not his position. His position, if he's getting this stuff for free, find a jean seller that will buy all your awesome jeans for $8 and send him 100 pairs of jeans a month and make $800. That's his position because he's a shoe seller. So like, if you want to take on these side quests or like make some little side money hustling, doing a couple things, you have to figure out what your position is. And like, if I came up on a bunch of shoes, I'm not a shoe seller, but I'm also not a fool. And I know a guy who will buy shoes and I'll sell them to him for $10 each. And I got 20 pairs and I come up on a quick $200, putting them in a box and giving them to somebody else. So like the moral of the story is there is money everywhere. There is quick money everywhere. I'm going to get a couple $100 on Playmobil by putting them on the ground and taking 12 photos and I'll have my money in a week. But like, I could also cripple myself. And if you do that continuously, cripple yourself continuously, then you're out of business.
You are an expert though, putting on the ground and taking 12 pictures of the whole thing.
Dude, I am an expert on putting stuff on the ground and taking 12 pictures and making money. I am an expert, and I used to get clowned for this, but I am an expert on putting stuff on the ground, taking photos and making money.
So if that is, and I think it's appropriate because you can also find the top customer for a vintage shirt in the world.
Yeah.
So you can do the very lowest, which is just an ad and someone comes and picks it up for a tenth of the value. And also you can sell for 110% of the value.
Okay. So I'm set up to sell it for 110% of the value to a celebrity.
Yeah.
But I'm not set up to sell a Red Bull machine on eBay or an Oakley case. I'm not set up for that.
That's what I mean.
So for that instance, it's the quick flip that requires no work.
So is it this humility you have to play the game you are an expert at? Because you're still an expert at putting a Red Bull machine on the ground, taking a picture of it and putting it online. That's just that payoff in that game.
It is, but what I'm not an expert in is if I list this Red Bull machine or Oakley case for $1,700, I don't know how long it's going to take to sell.
Yeah.
So I don't want to do that and then sacrifice the space in my warehouse or do anything outside of the ordinary like that, where I'll let somebody else deal with that who knows what the sell-through is. Or I don't know how to answer questions on those type of things. Like, oh, does this have enough Freon to keep my Red Bull drinks cold for 14 hours? I have no idea. But if you ask me like, oh, is this blue tag from Nike made in Japan? I can say absolutely 100% it is. So like, you have to kind of pick and choose your battles, but there's money everywhere. It just depends on how much of it you want and how you want to get it. Like I also do take pride that I can literally make money out of nothing. I that's my most favorite thing to do. And that's why thrifting and flea market was like so great for me, is because I love making money from nothing. So like I love picking up these toys on a Curb Alert and they're going to make a couple $100. Like I love doing that. I love making money from nothing. As we can see by my low cost, no cost approach.
You take pride in it costing nothing.
not, I take pride in just pulling money out of the air from nothing. That's my most favorite thing in the world. Like if you came over here and we woke up tomorrow, we can make $1,000 tomorrow from nothing. There's no doubt in my mind that we could. Like we could wake up and make $1,000 tomorrow. Somehow, some way we could figure it out.
That means there's thousands of dollars of value everywhere.
Everywhere that people just walk by and don't know, don't understand, or just blind to see. Because I wasn't the first one to pass by that bag. And that bag had a bunch more other stuff, but I don't want to deal with it. So like, Sheila, cover your ears, but there was like a bunch of vintage dolls in there. And I threw them right back in the garbage. And my wife looked one up, and the first one she looked up sold for $30. But like, that's not for me. They went right back where they came from.
Yep.
So like that bag probably had maybe $500 to $1,000 worth of stuff. But I only picked out the stuff that I know I can auction and get my money in 1 week.
When Eduardo came here, he went to a flea market and he bought a box of toys for $90. And I sent you a screenshot and you said he did pretty good.
Yeah.
And the person that got that for $10 at a garage sale and sold it for $90, they did pretty good too.
They did great. That was their part of it. And Eduardo can pay $90 because he's going to be the guy that pieces it out. And he's going to be the guy that waits 1 year for all of that stuff to sell through, which is fine. That's his business. That's his business model. So when I list this Playmobil stuff, Eduardo unknowingly might bid on it and he might be the winner and he might end up piecing it out and making all the money. And that's great. I'm happy for it.
Number 4, most liked Instagram post is, if you don't feel ready, do it anyway. If you don't feel like it, do it anyway.
Yeah.
I think that with our listing goals, you don't really ever feel like it. I think you just get up and start doing it and then it just completes itself. But this is number 4 most liked post is, if you don't feel like it, do it anyway.
Yeah. There's a lot of stuff I don't like to do, but unfortunately it's part of the gig.
Yeah. It's a grind going out there to find stuff, figure it out, go home, throw it on the ground, photograph it, find a place to put it.
Yeah. There was times, maybe long stretches of time where I hated to go source. I hated photos and I hated listing. And I still did it every single day.
Yep. Sometimes you'll not like it ever, but do it anyway. That means that there's certain things that you will never like doing.
Yeah, that pretty much sums up my entire life to this point, dude. It's tough. But you have no choice. What other choice do you have? You don't have a choice.
Number 5 is, big changes happen with small daily actions. So for listing, or for eBay, it would be, make a trip to the thrift. Maybe you didn't want to do that. Go to the post office a little bit earlier. Do your listings a little bit earlier. Learn a little bit more about your niche. Talk to somebody that knows more than you know in that particular niche. Take the jump and start your listing now. I mean, that is how you do it. It's just one little thing at a time. And I think a lot of people ask how to do research, but it's always broad and then narrow.
Yeah. What I gather from that entry is being consistent on your listing goal. Like listing every single day eventually builds this humongous snowball that has so much momentum that it's impossible to stop. And it's just little by little, just doing the same amount of listings every single day. You don't even have to increase your listing goal all crazy all the time. Just the same amount of listings every single day, done consistently, will build a humongous store that will get you great sales. Or even if you don't want a humongous store, you just have to concentrate on sell through and profitability and things like that. But just being consistent with that in mind every single day, that will end up building something huge eventually. You just got to stay at it. And it's not overnight and it's not get rich quick. Like it's very drawn out process in order to get to some sort of stable number of sales where, you could start forecasting and things like that.
Okay, so this is good. It says big changes happen with small daily actions. I have to remind everybody that you still do everything one at a time.
Yeah,
So
nothing in bulk, nothing automatic.
nothing
Yeah.
in bulk. There's not some tool you use that makes it so you can list more than other people.
Nothing. I use only eBay tools, and everything that's automatic on eBay, I take off. Like automatically send offers, automatically open and close cases,
Yeah.
automatically schedule this, automatic. I take all of that off, and everything is done one at a time manually, even listing items, even launching drafts, proofreading, every single thing is done one at a time.
I think this is one of the most valuable lessons I learned when I started from zero. I made an offer because you can offer on all your items at the same time, but I made an offer one at a time with the assumption of, I don't have any money right now. What can I offer that this person will for sure accept? I'm not like, I'm either going to accept this offer or I'm going to counter. I'm not going to counter. I want them to accept the offer. I'm not here. I want to send them an offer and accept an offer. I'm sorry. That's how I approached getting an offer. But then on the sending an offer, if there were two watchers there, I really wanted the item to sell. And sometimes I would send a 60% off offer because I want it to sell. You want it? You watched it today? I want you to come back to your computer and buy it. Because when you don't have any money, every single thing you can make a custom offer. You can do it one by one in the beginning. You can figure out why yours is better and put that in the listing.
So do people, because it's not like I don't have any money, because like there are people that, quote unquote, don't have any money, but they don't have that mentality. They still have the mentality of I can wait.
Yeah.
And like for me, I'm doing okay, but I still have the mentality like I don't have any money.
Yeah.
So like how do people, and it might not be a switch of like money or no money, but it's like it's just a switch of like a little bit more urgent in making things happen. I think like instead of just listing it on eBay, I think there should be like some sort of urgency or effort to kind of get things moving and make things happen.
Yeah, I think that have no money attitude is great because there's always more items. That's how I look at it. Unless it's like the Mona Lisa, which none of us find.
How sometimes we talk about where back in the day I had to make a decision, either soda or chips.
Yeah.
Simon, he tagged me on Instagram and he showed soda and he showed chips, like fish and chips. He thought this whole time we were talking about soda and fish and chips. Mm-hmm. And I said, dude, if my decision was fish and chips, I have no reason in the world to be whining and complaining, but it was literally potato chips.
Yeah, potato chips. Number 6 is, if you're outside your comfort zone, you're doing it right. If it's comfortable, you're probably not making progress. I don't know. I think everything that's work is not comfortable. Because you got to go do it. Comfortable is doing nothing.
What is the definition for comfortable in that instance?
If you're outside, if you're working towards the right things that you really want to do, you're not going to feel ready.
Because people say that all the time. People say like, oh, this should be uncomfortable. But like, what exactly do they mean? Because like maybe for me, since my personality is so flatline and I don't get upset or like get too high or too low, but like I don't know if I can like say that it's uncomfortable. So like what do they mean by like, growth should be uncomfortable, or like if you're comfortable, then you should make a switch? Like what is it? Is it like if your foot is off the gas pedal, like you're comfortable and now you need to step it up? Or is it like as you're growing now your foot is on the gas pedal, but like I don't understand what exactly they're talking about.
I think that's a good point, because you've never been out of control. You've never been redlining. No. You've never been spending your last dollar. Hope this works out.
No, even at the highest level, like I wouldn't describe it as uncomfortable, but it was just, like I've talked about before, like when I was saying the shipping never ever stopped, you ship all of your items and you press refresh and now you have 200 more to ship. And my wife said, well, that's exactly what you wanted. Like, it wasn't uncomfortable. It was just like, I don't know how to explain it, because like it still got done every single day, but like it was just life. It was just work.
I think it's relentless. I don't think it's uncomfortable. Like if you sign up to do eBay forever, which is what most of us are doing, there's not like I'm going to stop on November 13th next year. Usually people don't think that way. So you're doing it indefinitely.
Yeah, you can build eBay to the point where it never stops, because it's a 24-hour a day, 7-day a week platform.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Like people go, oh, I'm too comfortable. Like I got to switch it up. But I don't understand that portion. So I don't know. Maybe the chat can help out on that one.
Next one is repeating is the number one thing to get you to your next level. Most people are looking for something different, but they need to do the same thing, just better.
Yeah, I subscribe to that fully.
Yeah, you're not doing anything different. You are definitely you're heavy on repeat.
That's it. Just repeat. And like the way that I list my item today is like the same way that I listed my very first item. It's just the same exact over and over and over and over and over again. Same thrift route, same everything.
John B says the level of comfort depends on what's normal for each person. I guess what I want to cultivate for everybody listening out here is just the ability to overcome any obstacles and get done no matter what. So to do it until it's done instead of how long does it take? Thank you for listening to the Resellers podcast with Tech and Sports and Daily Refinement. If you'd like to listen to the full episode, please check us out at patreon.com/the Resellers podcast for all information, all our full-length episodes, over thousands of hours of coaching, and our Facebook mentorship group, which is $35 per month, just about $1 a day to help you get to the next level. We appreciate you guys. See you next time.